She doesn't even go here.
I'm bi, actually.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Hi, I'm Kurt Hummel, and I'll be auditioning for the role of kicker.
Aloha! Welcome to Not So Straight Nerds. My name's Alicia.
And I am Luke.
And if you haven't guessed by our intro, we are talking about Lilo and Stitch today, the live action.
Yay!
Yeah. It came out and it's probably going to make $1 billion. Yay.
Okay. There's certainly
Anyways.
conversations to be had here.
And I think, a lot of the internet is kind of feeling that as well.
Yeah.
Not box office wise or even audience score wise, but we'll talk about that later.
Indeed.
Oh, also, quick disclaimer before we get started. We will still have a non-spoiler section. However, we both feel like the animated movie, anything that happens in the animated movie is free range or free reign. That's what it is. Free reign. Because it's been out for 23 years now?
Around that.
So, sorry, but I guess here's your warning anyways.
Yep.
But
and that
any
being said,
changes,
if you haven't seen the animated Lilo and Stitch,
please do.
watch that.
Please do before we watch this one. Gosh. Anyways, so yeah, but any changes that were made in the live action we will save for the spoiler part. So yeah. Anyways, how's the vibe?
How are the vibes? I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little eepy. We just ate lunch.
Okay.
And
You have that like food
Yeah. I don't always
crash,
feel that.
I guess.
But maybe it was also because we were in the middle of that show.
I'm forcing him to watch The Summer I Turned Pretty because, hey, at the end of the day, it's a popular show and I want to talk about it by the time the third season comes along. And it probably won't be its own video unless nothing else is coming out at that time. But one way or another, we'll talk about each new episode when the third and final season comes out. So, yeah.
Okay.
And I've read the book, so we can talk about that too. But yeah, we're almost done with the first season. We only have 2 episodes left. Needless to say, you and Cole are not fans. However, I'm still forcing you to watch
Indeed.
the rest.
And I've watched worse shows that I didn't like.
Yeah.
So
Anyways, back to Lilo and Stitch.
back to Lilo and Stitch.
Unlike our Mission Impossible episode, we're going to be starting with the pros first because unlike Mission Impossible, which had less cons, this has less pros.
Indeed.
And I also didn't write any notes for this one too because I feel like we can just bounce back. We never talked about the Luther experience with those people in that episode. Anyways, speaking of bad theater experiences, oh my gosh, this one was genuinely one of the worst I've ever had. Ever. It's not even because it was loud. It wasn't even that loud. It was like, okay, I understand when you go watch a kids movie, especially opening weekend, especially now that it's summer, there are going to be kids there.
Sure, it is a kids movie.
Yeah, there's going to be giggles, there's going to be reactions, there's going to be, Mom, what happened? And you know what? That's fine because they're kids and I expect that. And I go into a kids movie expecting reactions like that. That's fine. But when you let your kids, plural, multiple families, multiple children, run around banging on the back of chairs, burping, oh my gosh. When I tell you this little girl got in the middle of my seat and Cole's seat, in the middle of the two, and burped in our face, I'm not exaggerating. That's exactly what happened. She would, her head was physically in between our 2 seats. It's not like she was, in her mom's lap behind us. No, she was in between our seats, burping on us. And she was babbling the whole movie, and even the babbling wasn't that annoying. It was the burping. It was the smacking of chairs. It was the fact that at some point I had a hoodie on and I had the hood partially on my head and she pulled it down and my hair. My hair was in a claw clip. She pulled on my hair and I physically turned a 180 back and her hands were on my seat. Horrible experience. Where we are rewatching it Monday with one of our friends that did not get to see it when we saw it. So, if nothing else, I'm hoping it'll be a better theater experience.
One can hope.
Because that last probably 45 minutes of that movie, every 5 minutes I was asking myself, when is this movie gonna end? Because I was just having such a horrible time. It was bad. Anyways, that's not even like about the movie. But I will say we probably do feel worse about the movie because of our theater experience. At least I do. But a lot of our cons are still very valid. We just might be more upset about them because we watched them while annoyed and upset.
I'll say I feel pretty level-headed about mine.
Okay, that's good. Because, yeah, you were on the outset, so you weren't as bothered
Yeah.
as me and Cole were. But you still said towards the end, especially, you had some kicks to the seat. So it was crazy. Actually crazy. Mm-hmm. Anyways, let's get into the actual movie.
Indeed.
That being said, please parent your kids.
Yeah.
It's okay if they act like kids, but it's not okay for you to never discipline them whatsoever. Because, I mean, that's a part of life, is to be like, hey, this is not a thing you need to be doing. And it's okay if there's some struggle there. But there was never a single time the whole movie where I heard, like shh, or stop doing that, blah, 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 blah.
Also,
I never heard anything like
on top of that, babies don't belong in a movie theater.
No.
I'm so sorry if you have other kids.
When I saw...
You don't get to go into a movie with a baby and act like that's okay.
No, like a literal baby, not just like...
A literal baby.
Small children, like a literal baby. I remember when we saw Insidious, the Red Door, or whatever it was, and there was a baby in the front row. First of all, front row for your baby, horrible parent. Horrible parent for their ears and their eyes. And then Insidious, really? Really? You don't need to see it that much. It wasn't that good of a baby for you to see it with your literal infant child. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways,
Craziness.
there was never an apology. Like, I'm so much more patient, especially with children and parents, if you're actually trying. If you're actually like, shh, you need to do this. Or if they're being really loud, take them out of the theater for a few minutes till they calm down and then come back. Or just like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, if she pulled my hair, that was really aggravating. But if the parent was like, I'm sorry, and yanked her back, then I would have been way less mad about it. But that didn't happen. So then I was mad, and even more mad that nothing was happening there. And I know they knew what was happening.
What if she was pulling another kid's hair?
Yeah.
Then you have problems.
Yeah.
For sure.
Or pulling the hair of someone who's not as well.
Unsafe.
Yeah.
Who's willing to actually cause a scene.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I'm almost never mad at the kid. I mean, I'm annoyed at what they're doing, but like they don't know any better.
Parents,
and it's
sure.
your job as a parent to tell them that. So what happens if I was like really rude and screamed at a kid? I would never do that because I don't think that's right. But there are plenty of people out there who will do that, who don't have any sort of patience and just hate kids and like will turn around and yell at the wrong person. And I just don't understand. I just don't understand.
So fair.
Anyways,
the
let's
movie.
move on. Let's move on.
Movie.
The actual movie. I will like never mention it again.
Okay,
I promise.
so before we start getting into that, actually, I wanted to kind of talk about how we felt going into it.
Okay.
So, and I want to go a ways back.
Mhm.
When you found out they were making a live-action Lilo and Stitch movie, what were your general thoughts on that?
Should I talk about like the journey, or do you want me to?
The journey.
Okay. When they first announced it, I honestly don't remember how I felt, but because I don't remember what was happening and what live actions were coming out at that time. So like,
Let me take a look at some of the last ones we've had.
because I know we've had Snow White, we've had, gosh, what did we even have last year? When was The Little Mermaid? That was 2023, I think.
Correct.
2 Memorial Days ago. I liked that one. I didn't even hate Snow White. I think there's some good parts of that one. There's some bad parts, but at least some of the changes they made worked well, unlike this movie. Anyways, what movies did you find?
So the order going backwards. So this year we had Snow White. Last year we had Mufasa the Lion King.
Right.
2023
I
was
kind of liked
The Little
parts of that
Mermaid
one.
and Peter Pan and Wendy.
Oof.
Then
Loved Little Mermaid.
2022 was Pinocchio.
Ooh.
2021 we had Cruella.
Yes.
2020
Loved that
was
one.
Mulan.
Mm-hmm.
2019 was Lady and the Tramp, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, The Lion King, Aladdin, and Dumbo all in the same year.
Aladdin clears those movies. Okay, I was like feeling really bad about that list until you said Aladdin. I personally love the Aladdin live action. I know that's not popular, but I will also say,
It made $1 billion.
Well, and this is gonna, well, so did Lion King. Ooh, I hate that movie. Oh, it's so bad. Just watch the original. It's so much better. Anyways, that's probably true for most of, if not all of these movies. But anyways,
I would say
I liked Aladdin, but I also, I like the original Aladdin. I don't love the original Aladdin. So maybe that's probably a big reason why I liked the live action. I really like Jasmine, and so I appreciate that they focused a lot more on her, even though it is called Aladdin.
Did they focus a lot more on her? It feels like they just gave her another song.
Well, they gave her another song. They gave her way more agency of like fighting against Jafar and saving her own people, becoming the Sultan.
Interesting.
A lot more than the original. So, and yeah, I mean, and then they kept what was great about her from the animation as well. So I don't know. I don't know. It's not a bad movie at all. The animated. I still like the animated, but I don't know. I like the changes that they made. But anyways, so I feel like at first I probably was skeptical because I love Lilo and Stitch as a movie. I love Stitch. So I don't know. And then they started doing some fun stuff with the marketing like they did when the original animated film came out. So I felt better about it. I was like, okay, they clearly understand the story, right? They understand, right? No, they only understood that Stitch was the selling point, which, business-wise, really smart, and also true, just objectively true, that he is the selling point. However, when it comes to the story, then I start hearing things from the early reviews, and I heard a spoiler about Nani, which I will not mention until the spoiler section, and I hated it, and I was very skeptical, and then I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would when watching, but I still don't like the decision. I don't know. I'll tell you in the spoiler section exactly what I read and then what my thoughts were, but let's just say stuff like that was coming out. They were saying they took out a character, one of the villains. They made one of the guys who kind of redeems himself towards the end. They kept him as a really evil villain. They didn't have like the Pleakley disguises, although I will say the guy who played the Pleakley's human disguise was great and has been in a lot of stuff. He was the one of the princes in Aladdin, the live action, the one that she obviously doesn't marry, but he's been in a lot and a lot of Disney stuff. So, yeah, he did great. I hope he gets more work out of that. I'm so happy that the actress for Lilo loves Zach, whatever his name is, who plays Jumba. So happy for her that she loves him. I love him in other movies. And then he's here. So, yeah, that's all I said on that. So, yeah, and then watch this movie. It was
that movie, yeah.
Yeah, it was a movie. How did you feel? What was your journey?
So, I remember, hearing them making a live action Lilo and Stitch. In the vein of all of the live action remakes they're making, that's among probably one of the smartest ideas.
Yeah, that's true. And Moana's, we were talking the other day. I'm surprised they haven't, talked about Frozen yet. Because they're clearly, at this point, pivoting towards what will make money. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch, very smart.
I think it came and went how excited I was about it.
Yeah.
Snow White happened, and they were talking about they were going to cancel any live action movies going forward, and I was like,
except Lilo and Stitch and Moana, though, and
well, because they're made already. But
yeah, those are the only two that are confirmed because they're the only ones made.
And then I remember having the other day being like, there's something we should maybe anticipate in that they said they're stopping this, and they have Lilo and Stitch in the pipeline. So
yeah, and Moana.
Maybe there's a testament to how they feel about the ones that they are forced to release because they're already made movies. Yeah.
But it's also, if these next two potentially, so far their last two, or so they say, well, they're probably both going to make $1 billion. So, maybe it's too early to say that about Moana,
Lilo and Stitch, I think, has a leg up. I think Moana 2 the selling point is still humans, and you need to make those look good. And I think there's a lot that can go wrong with that.
I don't know. I'm most nervous about Dwayne Johnson as Maui.
For sure.
Because, I mean, he's got a great voice for it. That's for sure. And it's weird that he is so buff, just like Maui, but I still hate the idea of him playing live-action Maui. I don't know. I just have never found him to be that great of an actor. He's okay. I don't hate him.
Well, I think
but
the thing is,
I don't know.
I think the common consensus is he can't really act. He can just be The Rock with it in a different name.
Yeah.
And sometimes,
sometimes
your
works.
character is just Dwayne The Rock Johnson with a different name.
Yeah.
When it's not, you got a problem.
And I feel like I remember liking... It's been a while since I've seen this movie, but I feel like the first Jumanji, I liked him in.
I liked him in the
because
first one.
he's funny. He is really funny, and maybe that'll work for Maui, because Maui is also very funny, and he's very cocky, and that fits. So, and you know what? Nothing wrong with that. It's fine. You be confident, girl. You be confident.
Said to Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Exactly. He was also in that one Tooth Fairy movie. So
He was.
I remember liking him in that one too. So yeah.
Crazy.
Is that the same one where there's like a little girl and she has like an allergic reaction to peanut butter? No, I feel like that one's different.
That's the game plan, I think.
I also liked that one. So sometimes he works, and then you have like Black Adam and some others, and this doesn't work as well. So.
True.
I even like him in the Fast and Furious movies, but I don't know. I'm still
not
nervous
Hobbs
for
and
him.
Shaw, though.
No. Anyways, if that, I don't know. I do think we need to have a conversation of what's going to happen when this movie probably makes $1 billion, and maybe Moana will as well. Will they just pivot into only making movies that are guaranteed to make $1 billion, like Frozen? So, and what else would, besides Frozen, would even make $1 billion?
That's a great question.
Maybe we'll look into that. I don't know.
I mean, they already covered a lot of their princesses.
Yeah, that's my thing. And a lot of the originals, I mean, a lot of them are well liked, but like, oh my god, do you think they would make a live action Nemo? I don't think that would make $1 billion, but do you think they would?
I wouldn't be that surprised. Oh my god, I almost don't want to put this out there. But the first Incredibles, I think.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Did really well.
Ooh, yeah, especially with like if people receive Fantastic Four really well, I think that could also be a determining factor.
Oof.
Oh my god, no.
That's a scary thought.
But I mean, we have to talk realistically. Like, this is Disney we're talking about, so even though we hate to say it,
But yeah, no, I can definitely see
might.
them going Lion King with a Finding Nemo.
yeah.
And
I'm just glad that means
I think
Tangled.
we're safe on Cars, though. I think we're okay.
Oh my god, please.
Because what would that even look like?
So bad. So bad.
That would look like nightmare-ish.
Yes, it would. It would look very weird. But anyways, I just hope that means we're safe on Tangled and Princess and the Frog, because I never want them to touch either movie. I love both of those movies, and I just need in my soul for them to not ruin those movies. So,
Fair.
well, they wouldn't ruin the movie, but it would put a little damper on it.
Sure. So getting into some of our pros.
So, our 3 pros.
Anyways. The first one. Well, and you know what? Maybe I'll even combine them together. Lilo and Stitch as characters.
Are great.
It feels like, they're there. And
Yeah.
they feel like those characters.
Yeah. The
They-
actress for Lilo, like,
so cute.
amazing.
So
yeah.
cute. So
I
funny.
can't wait to see her in the future.
Mhm.
So,
Adorable.
yeah.
And I think this was her. I'm assuming this
Probably.
is her first role.
probably.
And I think she did really strong. I think it's really sweet seeing the behind the scenes stuff of how much the cast really liked her.
Yeah.
And the crew. She seems super cute. So.
She reminds me of, like, how for a hot minute after, like, during the Wicked press, the young actress Vanessa Rose blew up because she's just so cute and sweet. She has, like, such a fun personality, which Lilo's actress is a lot more outgoing, I would say, and just, like, she has, like, this natural humor, and I find that to be very unique and fun about her. But it reminds me of that, but a lot more because she's, like, the main character. Do you have to sneeze?
I do, and it's going away, and I
No!
hate that so much.
Cucumber.
Cucumber.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Bob.
But yeah, Lilo is so cute.
Stitch looks
And
very cute.
Stitch, it was very debated when it first came out. I always loved the design of Stitch.
Me too. I heard complaints that he wasn't more blue, but I feel like it's the same thing with like Ariel's hair in the live action Little Mermaid. I don't know. I feel like you could very easily go too far, too cartoonish looking, which again, that's the bad part about live actions is you can't make it as beautiful as the original because it just doesn't work in live action when it's that vibrant.
Yeah, and it's
but
like this
is
especially
cute.
following the Super Bowl trailer
Yeah.
that they did where they had Stitch running on the field, and so many people were like, why did my aunt think that there was an actual dog on the field? It's like, people can look at this and there are already real life people who thought this was an actual animal.
Yeah.
So literally your idea that people,
although
I don't know.
I will say I feel like it always looks the best when you have a puppet of the thing and you're doing VFX. This one, from what I have heard, it's just VFX. Like,
from what I've seen some behind the scenes stuff, and it's a lot of them just pretending there's something.
Yes, and there's one scene towards the very end, and this is in the original, so I'm gonna say it, where Nani is like hugging Stitch when he gets freed, and like doesn't get taken back to his planet, and she's petting him with her hand like in a claw position. And it's so, it looks so bad. I'm like, somebody should have just have her hug him. You don't have to. It was bad. Like, I saw that clip again because somebody posted about it on TikTok, which don't record in the theaters, but it did pop up again. And I was like, yeah, that looked just as bad as I remember. But that was the only scene where I feel like he didn't feel like he was there, I will say. So, yeah. And he was very cute.
Yeah. And I would say both of them, while I would say not consistent not as consistent as the original, but they were pretty funny.
Yeah.
Both of them definitely had me laughing at least most of the times they were trying to make me laugh.
Yeah, me too. I will say Stitch is not given as much to do in this film, which does feel very weird, considering they understood that he was the selling point. You would think they would want to push him a little bit more. But I mean, hey, similar thing happened with Bucky where they pushed him a lot in the trailers and then he wasn't in the movie all that much. He's in the movie a good amount, but there's a little less.
But the thing is, they took away a lot of his screen time from the original, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy.
I don't understand it at all. I can't even. I guess I know what they filled it with, but for the most part, they had every scene from the original in this film, and then with like a few minor things added. But I feel like it didn't take up that much time to like take away all of Stitch's things. But I guess it did. I don't know.
In any case, I don't know. There's nothing that they added here that was worth taking away those iconic moments.
Absolutely not.
Like, not even close.
No.
So, I don't know. And then the other thing that I have on my pro list is Pleakley.
Yep.
I will say I enjoy his live action design. I think he looks like a freaking monster, which he does.
All of the aliens look like pretty accurate, I would say.
Yeah. But this one, some of the aliens I think aren't rendered great.
Okay.
The texture on some of them, like the Grand Councilwoman, I'll go ahead and say.
Oh, okay.
Like, she looks very much like she's from like an animated like video game or something like that, like something straight out of a cutscene.
Mm-hmm. I will say. I forgot what I was gonna say. I don't think this is what I was gonna say, so maybe I'll come back to it. Oh yeah, the budget. The budget was only $100 million.
However,
I feel like you can see that a little bit.
Oh, you can definitely see that.
Or maybe a lot of it.
And also, but it's $100 million, and like you know what you're working with. There's no reason they shouldn't have expected this to blow up.
Yeah, it is weird considering Snow White, which was never guaranteed to do well, got such a huge budget versus this, which you would like. There's no reason to not be totally confident in it, and it seems like they were from the beginning, and yet they didn't give it the budget
to make a live action Lilo and Stitch movie.
Yeah. So, yeah, there were a couple scenes, like from the original where they were surfing, but in the original, when it looks so pretty, it looks horrible here. Not just, like, it looks like they're surfing, it just looks so ugly. The camera looks blurry, the colors are so muted. It's just, it's so disrespectful to the original artists that worked on the animated films. And that's how I feel about every live action movie, not just Disney. I am going to see the live action How to Train Your Dragon movie because I see every movie ever. But it's just not going to be the original. But anyways.
But
well.
back to Pleakley. We're on pros.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I like the way they brought him to life. I think of all the aliens, he's the most, well, after Stitch, he's the most successful.
I agree.
And then whenever he disguises as human, the guy role.
Great.
I love that actor.
Wonderful actor.
And he does the voice as well, but he's doing a lot of heavy lifting.
He wears this really, really fun outfit where it's like a black net type shirt with like a flower on the front, and he wears like some sort of hat thing. I'm like, I love this. If we can't get Pleakley in drag, this is, you know what, I'll take it. Great actor. His best twink life. And yeah, adorable outfit. I love it. And that was a good outfit too, like just in general. I'm like, okay, where'd you get that? Where'd you get it?
Hold on, let me queen out with Pleakley for a second.
Yeah. They need to have a Shazam, but for like clothes. Okay, where'd you get your outfit?
Indeed.
Anyways.
Any other pros to add to this long list?
I liked David's grandma. She was really cute.
She was funny. A new addition. I think her name was Tutu. Tutu, yes.
Sure.
She was funny.
She was fun.
It feels like I want to see her in a better movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I don't know what. In the is this a spoiler to say Stitch's outfit in the credits? Is that a spoiler? Stitch has one of his iconic outfits in the credits. Let's put it that way. Yes. And I'm so happy. I wish Lilo got that. But anyways. Huh? No, that's really all I could think of. Well, I mean, I liked Nani's like whole surfing thing with her being a surfing instructor. I forgot of that. I know she surfs obviously in the original.
She doesn't become an instructor.
Okay.
It's just after the day of looking for jobs, David's like, it'll make you feel better, and then they go surfing.
Yeah. But this one, she actually like becomes a surfing instructor, and I guess that doesn't go anywhere. I don't know. They never mention it again. I wish they had her stick with that, but whatever.
Whatever.
There was never a reason given to why she wouldn't have stuck with that, so that's one of the main reasons it bothered me. Yeah. So, anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's about it that I can think of.
Moving on to our cons list. Mm-hmm. So, the biggest con of this entire movie to me is the character of Jumba. Mm-hmm. I think if there was, if I had to pinpoint one huge problem that I would fix to make this like a watchable movie, it would be Jumba.
Yeah, cast somebody else. Jumba.
Well, and I heard someone gave
horribly
the excuse
miscast
that Zach Galifianakis usually does like improv stuff whenever he has a role, and he filmed his parts during the writer's strike, so he wasn't allowed to make up new lines. Mm-hmm. However,
but there was nothing wrong with his lines in the original.
Indeed.
So just stick with that and deliver them better.
It's still on the writers, and then also I think I do truly think he was just miscast. Why would he not have any accent? His voice,
horrible voice,
is so horrible.
Gosh, it was bad. And again, he's not a bad actor. He's just horribly miscast here, and that's just at the end of the day not his fault. They shouldn't have casted him.
And then like the alien design.
He wasn't even funny. He's a funny person. He's not even funny.
The alien design of Jumba also looked weird. He was not big enough.
Yeah, he's not big enough. He looks like hairier than I feel like he did in the original.
It's hard to tell because you can't see hair on animated.
Yeah.
At least not like the finer details.
Yeah,
but, either way, he looked not like he was muted down, so he doesn't look like a fun alien. He looks. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, he's not a fun alien here, so.
It's not an interesting alien to look at.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I don't know. And then the idea of Zach Galifianakis' voice coming from that creature, those two things don't fit.
It does not fit at all.
It's some of the worst voice acting I think I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bad. It's
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah.
And it feels...
There's a reason we've never heard his voice in a trailer.
Yeah, it feels so weird looking, because I watched an interview of him and Pleakley's actor,
Mm-hmm.
and the way Zach Galifianakis talks in that interview
Mm-hmm.
sounds like he had to, like, continue doing the interview after he found out his, like, wife died.
Oh.
He's like, well, you know, we just did Jumba as, like, this, like, more evil character, and, like, we were gonna make him more evil than the original. And it's just like,
He's so bored.
dude, you sound like
You sound like
you
are
could have gone
depressed.
to Disney World to do this, but they made you, like, do this in, like, Midtown USA.
Yeah. You're like, I wanted to do this on the top of the castle, not here.
Like, he just sounds so uninterested to be here, and it just
Mm-hmm.
so comes off in the performance as well.
Yeah.
It's like, man, were you even paid to be here?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe that's why he was mad.
was this like a favor that, like, someone, like, blackmailed you into doing?
Maybe.
It is so bad, and he's not, like, trying in the slightest to
Yeah.
make it seem like he's
Like he
doing
cares.
anything. And
Yeah.
it's so crazy.
I also want to point out that Epic Universe, Universal's newest theme area or theme park, I guess, with all the different lands, just opened, and they're utilizing that really well with How to Train Your Dragon. They have the two actors for Hiccup and Astrid going to meet the characters in the parks, and that has been so fun to watch. And I can't believe that they have Lilo and Stitch there on the property. Stitch is in Magic Kingdom, and then Lilo is at their restaurant in the Polynesian resort. I can't believe they didn't use them. Like, nothing.
Yeah.
It would have been really funny, though, considering Lilo is, like, an adult person's height in the parks. Having, like, Maya
That's
just
funny.
like, hey. But also, I don't know. It could have been great. Just, like, make a little,
Something fun for
make
sure.
a little video. I don't know if they've ever used that as a marketing thing, and I feel like that's been a really big missed opportunity, actually.
Yeah.
So even like things where, you know, you can't find Dumbo in the parks, but he has a ride. Go like have the actors ride on the ride or something, you know?
I agree.
So that would actually be a really easy one to film too, since that's a slow ride. So anyways, they should do that for Tron.
Yeah.
Actually, they really should. They should like, because the ride in the parks.
We got more Morbius on Main
No,
Street
I
USA.
actually I will say I did see a video of Jared Leto riding on Tron, but I feel like closer to the movie they should do that again. And also, in the parks it's mostly blue, and it
They
looks
should
really
make it
cool at
go
night.
red.
And then every now and then it turns orange for like 30 seconds. They should do like a night where it turns red. That would be so cool. And then obviously video that and post that. But especially with Jared Leto on it, what if it like happened while he was on it? That would be really cool.
And all
So
the stars aligned.
and I'm just like, yeah, like you have a theme park and it's really profitable, so just like
Yeah, it's
use
like the
that
most
more.
profitable thing you own as a company.
Yeah, so maybe utilize that more. But anyways,
Back to
That's
Jumbo
food for
real
thought.
quick.
Jumbo, yeah,
Ugh,
or Jumbo.
And then they make him the villain throughout.
yes,
And they make changes towards the end that really mess up anything they want to do going forward. If
Yeah.
they were to follow any other story that they've ever done with Lilo and Stitch.
because they're already talking about a sequel. We'll
And
see
then-
if that's true, but
And then also they have him say something that shows that, like, the people who make the show don't understand how Stitch and Friends work.
yeah,
And it's just, it literally made me, like, face palm. Cause it's
I
like,
face palmed a few times
how
in this
do you
movie.
not, like, how do you make a movie about something and just know almost nothing about it?
I actually would be really interested, not to bring up How to Train Your Dragon again, but the original creators for that movie are coming back for this live action film because they said, like, they didn't want somebody else to do it and mess it up. So they wanted, you know, even if it's copy and paste, you know, they knew their studio was going to do it anyways, so they would rather that than, like, messing up the story.
Sure.
So I wonder if we look at the crew, who all from the original movie, if any, worked on this one.
I don't know. I mean, we can
I don't
look at
know.
that if you want to
They
take
should
over
at
some
least-
of the cons.
Well, I feel like they should at least be producers, you know, like the original director or writer or whoever should at least be like producers or on the team in some capacity so they can have their vision and reinvent that. So, because it feels like they just completely missed the point here. And I hate that.
looks
They
like-
missed the point of Ohana,
They did. They really did.
which sucks because they talk about Ohana in the movie. So they didn't forget it. They just misunderstood it. So, I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's very goofy. The voice of Stitch was a writer on it.
Oh, okay.
Although I think, hold on, let me check on that one. Chris Sanders is the name.
They also...
Yeah, and he was a writer for the original.
Interesting.
He also wrote The Wild Robot.
In that case, I
The
wonder how much...
Croods, Stitch,
Whoa.
the TV
Good
show,
for him.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh. Anyways,
Yeah, it's
maybe
The
he was...
Lion King, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. So it's interesting that this
Wow.
is the script we ended up with.
in that case, I have to wonder if it's studio intervention.
I don't know,
It
man.
almost, like, has to be.
This was also a movie meant to go to Disney Plus, and
That's
unfortunately,
That's wild that Moana 2... Why is Disney, like, turning into a dumb business? Like, it's like they don't know how to run their business anymore, even. It's not even just that they are struggling to make great content, because they have great content, and then they have bad content, you know, back and forth, like every other studio. But it's just like, how are you going to take one of your most profitable franchises and have the sequel be on Disney Plus originally? And then you're going to take Lilo and Stitch and think about putting it on Disney Plus? Like, what? I don't understand that at all from a business perspective. You're just dumb. I'm glad it didn't end up that way for either movie. They're glad because it made a lot of money.
well, Moana 2 was originally supposed to be a show.
Yeah.
Thing. This,
Yeah.
I believe, was supposed to be a movie on Disney Plus.
But again, why are you making it a show? Make another movie and be a good business and earn money. So, clearly, we saw how that turned out. It's not even a great movie. And it still made a lot of money. So, same with this one.
Yeah.
I just don't understand that at all. But, anyways, let's move on in our cons.
Yeah. So, with that, so the budget for this movie was $100 million.
Yes. Another way.
And
You can see that.
You can really see that they had a very limited budget by any time that they were supposedly in space. Because, you know, I think the designs for all of the characters look really good.
Mhm.
The only character I would say looks specifically bad outside of Jumba,
Uh-huh.
I would say they brought the Grand Councilwoman right off the original,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't do any texturing to her to make her look like a real living creature.
Yeah, I can see that. She looked... For me, it was more the color that was bothering me. I felt like she looked muted. But maybe it was really the texture.
I think the texturing, because she just looks like a 3D animated person on a real, like, background.
Yeah.
Especially because I think even the other aliens look better. Like,
Yeah.
he took the red one. Like, that guy, he looks great.
Yeah.
And then, but they speed through every sequence that they're in space.
So fast.
Like, so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would bet in the original movie, you spend, like, maybe the first 15 to 12 minutes in space
Mm-hmm.
going through, like, what 626 is, why was
Mhm.
he made, here's everything about the context about this alien creature landing on Earth.
Yep.
In this movie, gets through all of that in maybe 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's so fast. They're like, this is happening, and then this happened, and then let's transition here, and then this. And then he's at Earth. And you're like, huh? Oh, okay.
It's crazy.
Sure. Glad I watched the original. See, find a balance, guys. We have an hour long in Mission Impossible and 6 minutes here. Find a balance. Imagine if we had an hour here.
I mean,
That's the whole movie.
and
Anyway.
then I think people will have had to have heard by now, but they changed the finale and ending.
Oh,
And
yeah, it is all over the
and
place.
anyone who has seen this and the original, like, I can't imagine hearing someone explain to me why this one has a better ending.
Nope.
or
neither.
a better finale. It's not nearly as interesting. It's not profound.
It's almost
but
like offensive.
Yeah, it can very easily be taken as offensive.
I don't treat the Nani in this movie as the same character as Nani in the original. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
I think they're two completely different characters, with completely different motives and personalities and ambitions. I'm like, there is nothing wrong with wanting to go to college and pursue a degree, but it's also completely fine to not want that. To just want to raise your little sister
A Barbie
after
that's
you
a
lost.
mom that wants to have a job, or maybe a Barbie that doesn't want to.
Exactly. They needed to listen to that. No, but actually,
Always
like,
listen to America Ferrera.
it's, yeah. But I'm like, it's okay for her to just want to be a guardian to Lilo. That's okay. That's enough. It's okay to see her struggle with that, because the whole message of the original film is that at the end of the day, she still loves and cares about her and would risk her life for her, like any other parent. And the foster system is, or it can be, a very dangerous and ugly place and system. So it's like, to even suggest that, to even play with that idea is just not Nani at all. I just don't believe that. So they're just not the same characters at all. So
Yeah,
it's almost like you can't pursue your dreams and be a parent. And I think that's a horrible message.
yeah, for sure.
So, because they don't.
We'll get into the specifics, but there's also a specific reason why that's like aggressively possible.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Where is she in? Anyways.
We'll get that. We're
in Hawaii, right? Right. We gotta go somewhere else. We'll talk about that later. The specifics.
There's also the animation in Lilo and the Stitch. Lilo and the
Stitch.
It's so stylized specifically to like the like watercolors of Hawaii, and everything is so like vibrant and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you touched on it earlier, but there is like no style to this movie.
It's so ugly. There's no color. Stitch is the only color.
Yeah, they don't do anything interesting with the camera work. The script isn't nearly anywhere near good enough to stand on its own as a reason to watch this movie.
There's a reason they didn't post the original, like a remake of the original Lilo and Stitch poster where Nani and Lilo and Stitch are on the surfboard. I think it's all three of them. It's at least Nani and Lilo. But there's a reason they didn't recreate that and post that, because it would be so ugly. Because it's so ugly in the movie. Yeah. Gosh, it's just insane to me.
I completely agree.
It's honestly a miracle at this state. Sorry. It's honestly a miracle that The Jungle Book was as good as it was. Because that movie was also really pretty. But then the live action was really pretty. So it's like, how did you do that? Like, what happened there? And why can't we do it again? So, there's a reason most people think that's one of the better ones. Mm-hmm. So, anyways.
Absolutely. I also put that there's no Gantu. And I love me some Gantu.
Yeah.
Especially as someone who watched, like, the Lilo and Stitch show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very important if you're going to continue the story forward.
Oh, okay.
Well, because Gantu, in the show, Gantu stays on Earth. He was fired from the Federation and he works for a criminal that wants to collect all of Jumba's experiments to make an army.
Okay.
And basically all of the experiments are in labeled balls because they're dehydrated. Mm. So if they get water on them, they activate. Oh. And they all have very specific and niche functions. Jumba was an evil scientist, so they're all like evil purposed.
Okay.
Gantu's trying to find them to capture them and make an army for the evil guy.
Okay.
And Lilo and Stitch are trying to find them because they're Stitch's cousins. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to find a spot for them to like have a job or a role that they do on the island.
Yeah.
And honestly, what a fun pitch. What a great pitch.
Except now we can't do that.
Yeah, and it's
so
weird
where do we go
they
from here?
They specifically hint at it in this movie.
Yeah, they do.
But then it's like they also don't understand it, which is crazy.
I will say I wanted to point out two more things. One good, one bad. One, before I forget, I liked that in the movie Stitch like claws a seat with his like 3 little hands or claws or whatever, 3 or 4 whatever. It looked like 3 in the movie. Anyways, but he has 4 there, but it's fine. So I like that he scratches a seat and has that iconic little scratch thing that they use with all their merch.
For sure.
And then that's how he gets his name. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun way to get his name.
Yeah.
Considering it's just come up with in the original.
Yeah. It's
Stitch
like,
isn't a name for a dog.
It's like, well, he's not a dog. Well, we can't tell you that. I also want to point out, speaking of characters that were taken out or changed, Agent Cobra Bubbles.
Yes, that was interesting. They try and add a lot more to his character here, which is so not necessary.
He has a good amount in the original. And yet, they, like, split his role in half.
Yeah, because
Like,
they're clearly
they have-
trying to make the, like... I'm trying to think how you say it. Like, the social work people come off
Yeah.
better than in the original. Which, however,
But
there's a
that's
whole
like-
statement on that in
Yeah.
the original that you don't make by doing that here.
Yeah.
So, therefore, your movie says nothing.
Yeah.
So much of the, like, actual commentary and themes of the original are completely gutted here. I know a lot of people were upset to see that there wasn't any, that they took out any statement against, like, the tourism, like, takeover
Yeah.
in Hawaii that was all over that first one.
Mm-hmm.
They took out...
I was going to say, it feels very conservative. And that's why I'm wondering if it's, like studio intervention.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we see
So-
the director come out and was like, we wanted to put Bleakley in a wig and have him do drag.
Yeah.
And he was like, I tried.
Mm-hmm.
So very clearly this is a movie made by numbers to try and be inoffensive to everyone. And so therefore, you have a nothing movie.
Yeah, you piss off the fans of the original, but it's not even that good in itself. Again, it's like they're trying to play both sides, and you lose everybody when you try to do that. So, it's just annoying. Especially when you've already made a great statement, and then you back up on that. It's just very frustrating. Because obviously, like, not every social worker is, like, an evil human being. But
Even Bubbles
same
isn't
thing.
evil. He's just
yeah,
serious.
yeah, and it just shows that there are flaws in the system. Same with foster care. It's not like you're guaranteed to have a horrible time, but there are a lot of flaws and a lot of problems with the foster care system. And so
And also, there's something they
I
do
don't
in it,
know.
which I'm like...
never commenting on that is crazy.
There's something they do at the very end of the movie with that,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I don't think that's a thing you can do.
Nope, I don't
That's
think
not
so
the
either.
case.
No, not that I know of. And again, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if that isn't a thing, because then they're just lying and painting it as if it's a good thing, a good system, not flawed. I'm like, you'd have such a much more interesting movie if you comment on all the problems you commented on in the original film, and you just get rid of all of that here.
Yeah,
You have such an empty movie.
absolutely. They have human disguises for Jumba and Pleakley, unlike the original where they're just these giant and weird aliens dressed as humans.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like they had to at least try to put them into something before doing the weird disguise.
Yeah.
Because, that's what the original is. I understand them, you needed to do it once. I understand this is
Yeah.
a live action,
Mm-hmm.
and the idea that, clearly if you're watching this, you want to believe what you're watching because you aren't watching the original animated.
Yeah.
So there's a reason you're watching this, and it's that you want to try and reflect it to your modern life that you live.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand them ending up in, like, a human outfit, digital
Yeah.
or whatever.
But they
But
need to at least
I don't know. Try one.
Yeah.
Just do one scene where they try that, and it's like, we gotta do something else here.
'Cause
And
that's-
you know what? That's enough for me.
That's what makes the bit so funny in the original, is because it's like unbelievable that these people are believing that a person with one eye, but it happens to be wearing a wig, still can pass as a human. Like, that's ridiculous, but that's what makes it funny. So it's like, I wouldn't have found a problem with that personally in live action. I just think, if anything, that makes it more funny, because you're seeing actual human beings in live action be like, yes, you're green and have one eye, but you have a black wig on. Slay.
Yeah.
And then just not question it.
I don't know. I would love
At least do
I
it
would have
once.
loved to see them try that, and even just
Or-
like fail immediately.
Yes, exactly. That could have also been funny.
And be like, and this is why they're switching to this.
Yeah.
That would have been something.
Yeah, I agree.
And then you know, whenever they Pleakley switches, I like Pleakley switch because I like that actor.
Yeah.
And for me, they find a way to still make it work and still make it feel like Pleakley.
Mm-hmm.
Jumba doesn't feel like Jumba even when he looks like Jumba.
No.
So, Jumba. It's Jumba. I don't know why I keep saying Jumba.
I don't know.
But, you know, we might as well be calling him Jumba.
Well,
'Cause he ain't Jumba.
well, it's confusing when you have Jumbo from Dumbo.
Mm-hmm.
Too many similar names. Poor Jumbo.
Yeah, and then they also add that Nani is a marine biologist, which in itself, fine, whatever.
Fine. Good thing you're in Hawaii, right? You don't need to go anywhere else to
But
study
then
marine biology,
they
right?
put that into the finale in a way that makes it unnecessary, and, you know, that's a huge element that misses the point of the original.
Yeah, I agree.
And, you know,
Again.
if the other changes in this movie weren't so horrible, it feels like there could have been room for this to be, like, an interesting commentary, because there's room to explore why this change was something to do.
Yeah.
This movie does not do that at all.
Nope.
It's mentioned, like, 2 times, and then at the very beginning, and then at the end.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh, right. Oh, but then we're going to make this huge change based on this thing you said 2 times, like, an hour and 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Crazy. Any other cons I'm missing?
She also, like, never talks about why she wants to be a marine biologist. Like, she likes surfing, but that's not the same thing.
Correct.
You could have had her have a scene with, like, sea turtles or, like, caring about the sea creatures.
I saw a thing where someone was like, you know, she's so interested in, like, science and being a marine biologist. Here's this, like, unexplainable creature in her house, and she has no interest in finding out what the heck is hanging out with her sister all day.
Yep.
There's also on Nani.
Crazy.
I think you miss the point of it being the character Nani when you make her the perfect student.
Yeah.
Like, because Nani is supposed to be, you know, an imperfect sister trying to be a mother.
Yeah.
And that is a huge transition. And she's supposed to struggle with that.
Yep.
And you see her clearly struggling with, you know, with being that role.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's the idea that she's, like, great at everything else already. That's not Nani.
No. Like, it's okay to not be perfect, guys. It's okay. Makes you a more interesting character when you have nuance and struggle and human personalities. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for real.
Here, it just feels too perfect. It's like, that's just not Nani, and it also just doesn't feel realistic in general, so.
No, for real.
For real.
Going on, I think we're ready to go into spoiler territory.
Yeah.
So,
I'm good with that.
Lilo and Stitch is about to get spoiled for those watching. You
the
can
few
watch it in
changes.
theaters right now if that's what you wanted to do.
Yay.
But before you do that, at some point, watch the original.
Yeah. I mean, if you have kids and you want an outing and they can handle an outing, go for it. Because it's a cute kids movie and they'll love it. But we dissect films and what we think about them. So at the end of the day, we're going to be judgy. And we're going to be critiquey. So that's what we're doing.
Okay.
Anyways,
going
let's
on.
go to the beach.
And there's not even a need for a countdown because it's, you know, there's the original.
Yeah, I have a countdown.
Okay. 3, 2,
2,
1.
1. Nani abandoned Lilo. That
Bum, bum,
bitch. God. The second in that film, they had the audacity to have Nani say, like, what would that look like when the social worker suggests giving up custody and moving her to the foster care system? I'm like, the original Nani would never dare. She would have clucked that lady in her face before she asked, what would that look like? I guarantee you that's what happened. Also, why did they split her and Agent Cobra Bubbles?
Yeah.
Because she didn't do anything the whole film. She was a nothing character. She was a filler.
Yeah, it's
Cobra
it's
Bubbles,
goofy.
I was nervous because I didn't like his look because he was just... Cobra Bubbles is like a huge man. Very scary and bulky.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, I mean, first of all, you don't even give him the sunglasses. You just give him glasses. I'm like, that's not the same thing. And then he's not buff. He's just a regular guy.
And then she's like,
But I will say,
you have tattoos on your knuckles. And it's like, this is a person who has tattoos on his knuckles.
right? The original, you're like, yeah. And it's like, oh, does he? No, but I will say this guy, I liked his voice. I was actually very impressed by his voice. That's what I was nervous for, because he wasn't giving Agent Cobra Bubbles. But then he did. So I was like, you know what? He's trying his best. It's not his fault.
You remember that
his
the
fault.
original Agent Bubbles was Luther, right? From Mission Impossible?
Yes! Oh, I love him. Why didn't you just have him? Actually, he would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah, he would have been great.
And speaking of, I'm guessing you probably didn't catch this because I didn't know this, but the Grand Councilwoman is voiced by Hannah Waddingham.
Who is the pilot, the admiral of the aircraft carrier.
Oh, okay.
So she was killing it this weekend.
Good for her. Yeah, no, for real. Somebody pointed out that if Doomsday and Dune Messiah really do end up coming out on the same day, I'll believe it when I see it, because Dune Messiah, I haven't heard a single thing about that. So pretty sure that's going to get pushed back a lot. Probably a year.
But Florence Pugh's going to have a great weekend.
But if it doesn't, she's going to have a great weekend. And, what was it? Somebody mentioned RDJ for some reason. Why would RDJ be in that film?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean,
maybe
if they
it was
bring
like a
back
past
MJ, maybe.
thing.
Zendaya.
Per. Get Timothy Chalamet as... This is a complete joke, by the way. Not serious. But I've heard fan cast of him being Harry Osborn.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to make a
I
joke.
don't know. I
Make
feel
him
like that's
Harry
not horrible.
Osborn.
I mean, but also if you're introducing Harry this late in the lore, you have to add some changes to him. So
Yeah.
I feel like if they-
I'm still rooting for Coleman Domingo, though, to be Norman Osborn.
Indeed.
God, that would be so perfect. I
This
would
is so
kill
off
for
topic.
that.
Who would you want to be as Harry?
I don't know. Maybe that's where Caleb Laughlin can go.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, because people want him to be Miles, but he's not Latino, excuse me. So, but he's still great and deserves a role.
Mhm.
So, yeah, he would make I think they're similar ages. Let's Google. Sorry for the sidetrack. Gosh, Mick Laughlin. Sorry, he's 23, and I think so. That's a little young. That's a little young, actually. I thought he was more like 25. Sorry. Hey, it's been a long time, Stranger Things, so I thought your actors were older than they were. Sorry.
Okay.
That's a little young. So, I don't know.
We'll sleep on it.
Anyways.
But okay, so going
Back to
into
Lilo
our
and
spoilers.
Stitch.
So
Lilo.
I'm gonna hop into Jumba.
I'm just going to go right back down my con list.
Okay.
So,
Jumba. He is evil, and he stays evil, and he ends up
Really
being the one
evil.
who kidnaps Stitch. But instead of bringing him to the councilwoman, he's taking him to make him into experiment 627, which is not how the experiments work, actually. Stitch didn't go through 625 different iterations. Each experiment is its own creature.
Yeah.
and then 627 is something that is already made and is in a ball, and it
Yeah.
just needs to be hydrated, and then boom, you have that 627, which I think is in one of the movies. One of the, like, straight-to-DVD spin-off
Oh,
movies.
okay. Because I've seen the second one where Stitch has a glitch.
Stitch has a
but
glitch.
But yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
It
you
like
could have just said 626 2.0. Like, like some sort
Or
of...
like,
or just,
we're going
I'm
to
giving you an
reprogram
upgrade.
you to
Yeah.
be evil again.
Yeah.
something like that.
You didn't
It's-
need a new name.
But either way, it's stupid. And then, I guess, and then they take him off planet, so he's not going to be a part of their family going forward. Which is, now you can't copy anything that Disney's done with the sequels to Lilo and Stitch, the show, the 3 different spin-off movies they have, because Jumba's in them as a part
Yeah.
of the family. It feels like they almost did that to avoid Pleakley and him being the uncle and aunt of their family, which is
I just hate that.
so dumb.
Yep. Very disappointing.
And you know what? I'm gonna say it. Offensive.
Yeah.
Be better.
I think there's a lot to be
if you
offended
didn't
about
want
this
to
movie.
tell that story, don't make this movie.
No, exactly. Ugh. It's just so frustrating. It's just a bad performance, poorly written character. When he pointed his gun at the mom and dad room, and actually shot the door in, I like hated his guts. I was like, this is evil and not Jumba. This is not my Jumba. He's just a little guy in the animated movie.
Yeah, and he's so much more
Ow!
fun.
I
in
need
the
to cut her
animated
nails.
movie.
Oh my god, that probably impaled me. She's
Yeah.
just-
Ugh.
the
And then
bunny kicks.
It's very annoying. So annoying. And then the portal gun felt weird.
Yeah, they kept the portal gun because Nani uses it to get through from a college in Nebraska for marine biology. First of all, you're in Hawaii. Why are you going somewhere else? Especially if you're said to be smart and perfect. I'm assuming you can get in.
Yeah, if you could get a full ride to any university, you can get an online degree.
Yeah.
And probably a great deal.
Or just go somewhere closer to where you live. I just don't.
Like-
Or if you have the portal gun, you could still live with Lilo and then just portal to class, and she can be dropped off at daycare or at at David's grandma's house.
It just
So
feels
many
it feels like
ways.
they're trying to be like, and this is a realistic look at it. But then you're not,
not.
because there's so many ways you can make that work without a portal gun.
Yes. Even with the portal gun, you had so many ways to make it better.
It's
I didn't do any of that. It's
so
so
goofy.
bad. So we were talking about earlier that's why I was saying earlier the comment about we're in Hawaii and then we have to go. She goes to friggin' Nebraska and it pisses me off. Anyways, and then so Lilo ends up getting, I guess still technically, according to their rules, didn't think this was a thing. Maybe it is, I don't know. But she gives up custody of Lilo. But she gets to choose where Lilo goes, which I don't think is how it works. But I guess in the movie it is. And she gets to go live with David and his grandma. Which, granted, they're good. Like, they're probably going to be solid
Yeah.
guardians for her. And
But also,
she's going to have a
they
good
didn't-
time.
Like, you need, like, I don't think you could, like, either you're a foster, in which case you need a license,
Yeah.
for sure, which
Yeah.
she just has that.
Maybe.
Interesting.
I guess.
Or, like,
Or you're adopting
or
her.
if you're adopting her,
But they mentioned foster care.
But-
And that's two different things.
and if you're adopting, then there's a whole thing you have to go through first.
Yeah.
So your realistic look at this issue, Disney, actually is not at all.
It's not realistic at all.
So
Gosh.
it's very cheap within.
It's frustrating
That
because
look.
it's not like I'm sad that she ends up with the grandma because I know she's going to be okay.
Mm,
But it's just not realistic and it's not necessary. That's why it's frustrating and that's why I don't like the decision.
yeah.
I did think, because all I heard in that tweet, now that we could talk about it, was that Nani gives her up to the foster care system. And initially, I mean, that really pissed me off because I thought that meant she was going to go somewhere random.
Mhm.
And we were just left with that. But, so I didn't hate it as much because then she goes to someone trustworthy. But it just doesn't make sense. And it's not needed.
Because that's
So.
not how it works. Let's see the ending. So they don't have Gantu. They have Jumba doing it all,
Mhm.
and then the argument of like Stitch has to stay on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Also dumb
Mm-hmm.
because already they were talking about how the entire movie Stitch is supposed to be punished by banishment.
Yeah.
And then he ends up on a planet that he can't leave. And they're like, well, let's get him. And it's like,
Yeah.
cool. He's on a planet he can't leave, though.
Mm-hmm.
So why do we actually care that much?
Well, that's also in the original too.
Well, but I think I'm curious.
Oh, but in the
'cause
original,
I think it's more imprisonment is what he has. Because they...
I thought in the original too it was banishment, and then at the end they say, well, you can live out that banishment here.
Well, but the whole thing in the...
Or maybe it was prison, and then
Within-
you just live out your sentence here or
yeah,
whatever.
it's something along those lines.
Yeah.
But you know, in the end, the big thing is that she has the receipt that she got from the dog kennel. It's like, thanks to the state of Hawaii,
Yeah.
this is my animal that I've adopted, and you can't take him away.
So I
And then
gave
she's
him
like,
$1.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, that's...
Oh yeah, that doesn't happen here. There's no adoption
And
papers.
she's just like, oh, I guess I changed my mind. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Then they also, while we're on
Well-
the conversation of scenes they took out,
They did say, like, the councilwoman did mention that she didn't want anyone finding them out. But, I mean, I guess Stitch looked like a dog. Like, I don't know, they could have just monitored it.
yeah, and they said they'd check in, but they also said that in the movie.
Yeah.
I don't
What
know.
were we talking about? The scene taken
Other
out?
scenes, they take away Lilo trying to make Stitch be like Elvis, the king.
Yeah. Which he
they
does
keep the
have his
cost-
Elvis at the end credits.
Speaking of, we never see Lilo in that red dress,
Nope.
and that's
So disappointing.
Crazy.
So disappointing. It's same with, like, one of my only gripes of the live action Little Mermaid is that she didn't get to wear her iconic sparkly dress. She would have looked so good at that. Halle Bailey, I love you, and you deserved to wear that dress. You would have looked so pretty. But anyways, and yeah, she didn't get to wear that dress here. I was excited when I saw the Elvis, so I went, oh yeah, that means we're gonna see Lilo in the red dress, right?
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
Right? Where is it?
And then they took out the ugly duckling moment with
Yeah.
Stitch, and I love that moment.
I love that scene.
Ugh.
And they gloss over this is your badness level. It's a lot, but we're going to work on that. They constantly erase it throughout the animated movie, and then at one point Stitch does a really bad thing on accident, but still. And then he, like, fills it all in, and then Lilo sees it and goes after him. That's so sweet, and none of that happens. The only thing that happens is she draws on a chalkboard.
One time.
One time.
And I don't know, it actually feels like he's not that evil either.
He's not as destructive as he was in the original
No,
at
he
all.
just, like, he like crashed a wedding to take cake, but like that's what an animal would do.
Yeah.
And it's just
So, yeah.
like compared to the original, he's just boring. Like,
Yeah.
he's a menace. Well, I don't even know if I'd say a menace.
I don't
he's like a
know.
loose animal.
Yeah. An untrained loose animal.
But hey, we saw those in the movie theater. I didn't see the Galactic Alliance coming for them.
God, that little girl pulling my hair just pisses me off. Guys, which I should have gotten a worker, I understand. Okay, but I said something to a parent one time, and I was nice about it. Didn't say anything to the kid. The kid couldn't have overheard it. I just asked politely, and he screamed at me. He literally screamed at me. I was very scared. Okay, I was scared for my life. Thank you. I am a girl. So then I just have a hard time with confrontation, especially in the movie theater, since it happened in a movie theater. But I understand I should have gotten a worker. But I've already said, if literally anything happens, anything close to that happens Monday, I'm getting a worker. I'm not talking to them. I'm just getting a worker. I'm just being like, I'm so sorry. I will defend you, girl. Please help me. We're in it together. Please. Please. Because I've also heard from, which, you know, obviously this doesn't represent everybody, but I have heard from several theater workers, like, that's one of their favorite things to do is to, like, kick people out of a theater. I would imagine that would probably be one of my favorite parts. I just, like, don't like obnoxious people, and I would love to kick them out, too. So, anyways.
For real, for real.
Do we
Another
wanna
scene I remember people really liking that wasn't in here was the scene where Pleakley gets completely covered in mosquitoes. I think having something
Oh,
similar to
yeah.
that would be pretty
I forgot
easy.
about that. It's so weird that it feels like this movie was longer than the original, and yet had so many scenes taken out, and I just don't know if there's that many that are put in. The wedding scene is the only one of the only ones I can think of.
For Stitch, yeah.
Stealing Stitch and taking him away maybe was a little bit longer than the original one. Because I know they still have a scene because he does escape with Lilo.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. A little bit, like, bits and pieces with Nani being a serving instructor. All of that was very fast. So it's like, it doesn't seem like it's taking up so much more time. Especially to take away all these other scenes. that are so iconic.
Yeah, I don't.
Especially with the rushed beginning. Like, I just don't understand
The
that.
rushed beginning, the horrible ending, the watchable
Maybe
in between.
we should, when this hits Disney Plus finally, maybe we should have like 2 screens where we watch them at the same time. Well, like, just to compare.
Fascinating.
Right? Just to compare. And then we were like, okay, so this scene's already done. Let's pause and like see how much more time it takes to do in the original.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah.
Also,
know.
before I forget, Pleakley's actor is Billy Magnuson, I believe is how you say it. And he kills it.
Yeah. Love that for him.
So,
I love that he's getting work. We love to see someone we like and say, oh, I hope he's getting good work. And then we look him up and he's in everything. That's really fun. It's very fun.
Anything else you want to add in the spoiler?
Nope. I actually am. I'm not excited to see it again Monday, but I am.
I'm interested to see it again.
Yes. Yeah. Because I don't think it's a good movie, but I am interested to see if I feel a little bit better about it if I have a better theater experience.
Sure.
So,
you said you were going to look at reviews. So,
yeah. I actually haven't pulled up this time.
okay. So, for the Rotten Tomato critic score, I think it's going to be mid-level. I think I'm going to say like 65. No,
Close.
69.
Oh, okay. That's exactly what
Oh
it
my
is.
god.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about audience score?
Audience score, I'm going to say that's going to be a lot higher. I'm going to say like 95?
Very close, 94.
Oh.
You've been killing it with the
Okay.
rating guessings. Okay,
Okay.
so what is the cinema score?
Cinema score, I think I saw it was, I think it's an A?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then we'll compare in a second what the ratings were for the other live action movies because
Sure.
I would love to see that.
And then IMDb, I'm going to guess this is like a 6 range movie. I'm going to say like 6.3.
I wish you were right.
Oh
It
my
is 7.1.
Interesting.
Not as much as The Final Reckoning, which I think is definitely the better movie.
Mm.
But still higher than I would have liked it to be. But
Okay.
that is pretty on par with Rotten Tomatoes.
Gotcha.
That kind of 70
gotcha.
mark. And then Metacritic score is 53, which is pretty low.
That's interesting.
Well, lower than 7.1. So
Okay, so I have pulled up.
I'm not going to complain.
I've pulled up
That's
the
more where I
opening
would put-
weekend box office.
Okay. I've seen a bunch of numbers for this, so I might get this wrong.
Okay.
But I've seen worldwide, it was huge, guys. It opened, I saw like a 325 million, something like that.
Worldwide, it is at 304 million.
Oh my god.
So, and
That's crazy.
that's a pretty close.
Oh yeah, we
split.
just talked about this in the car. Like it already made almost a third of a billion.
Yeah. So that was 145.5 million domestic,
Oof.
and then 158.5 international.
I'm honestly a little surprised that international is not more. Yeah. I would have thought Stitch would have been a big pull for international.
I mean, that's
Because everybody likes Stitch. Like domestic is very strong.
interesting. I want to do our
So-
estimate so I can look and compare that to the previous
Okay.
movies.
Yeah.
In the live action sphere. So, what do you think the end worldwide number is for Lilo
Oh.
and Stitch?
Oh, but I want to be able to like base it off of what the others have made with the similar
Sure.
projection.
Sure.
Also, can we talk about ratings for the others first?
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's okay.
That's so fine by me. So I made a list of all of the other previously made live action adaptations of the Disney animated movies.
Mm-hmm.
I am also including The Lion King and the animated live action esque remakes.
Yeah, it's live action. Even if they want to call
so
it animated. It's
I have
silly.
their budget, opening weekend, domestic box office, international box office, worldwide, the percentage of domestic to international,
Okay.
the profit margins,
so I can see how profitable these movies are compared to their budget.
Mm-hmm.
I have my score, Cinema Score, IMDb, and then Rotten Tomato Critic and Audience for all of it.
All right.
Although some of them don't have all of these. So what do you want to know first?
I want to know, and you have the ratings and stuff.
Yes.
I want to know the critic score for, I don't know about all, maybe some of the films. Whatever ones you find, that would be a lot for you to say. Feel free to say all of them if you want. Maybe like what the lowest one was, what the highest one was, and then maybe some in the middle.
Critic score. So critic, let's go A. So on Rotten Tomato, the highest critic score was a 94. It was given to The Jungle Book.
Period. Actually, I could have guessed that, yeah.
Followed with an 88 with Pete's Dragon. I love Pete's Dragon.
I need to see that.
I
need to
watched
work
that
on
for the first time on Disney Plus like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that thing hit.
Yeah, I need to watch the live action. Also, I'm going to guess the lowest is Pinocchio.
Let me see. The lowest is at 27, and that is, yes, it is Pinocchio.
Yeah, and that's valid. People hated on Wish because they said, well, I mean, they just didn't like the film, but also they complained a lot that it was too nostalgia-y, like it had too many throwbacks. This movie, Pinocchio, was, at least I feel like Wish did it in a fun way. This one was just like, the only thing I liked from the original Pinocchio one was I did think it was kind of cute. Well, like, I don't like it story-wise, but I like it with nostalgia-wise of, like, all the cuckoo clocks having, like, the Disney characters. I thought that was fun, but then you think about it for a little bit, and you're like, I actually don't know if I like that decision. Even though my heart wants to, but... Yeah, that's a bad movie. Very bad. Especially when you have the other Pinocchio one that released the same year. So much better.
So the highest grossing Zeta A is obviously The Lion King, which made $1,600,000,000. There are 4 total billion-dollar ones.
Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast,
and Alice in Wonderland.
Oh,
Back in
that is
2010.
actually very surprising to me.
Yep, that one
I
made.
like that one though, but I am surprised because I feel like it's a little depressing.
Oh, and The Jungle Book was close. It was at 950 million.
Oh man.
Oh, I would have loved for that to be a billion.
Oh man, that would have been fun.
That one is followed by Maleficent, then Mufasa, then The Little Mermaid, then Cinderella.
Okay, yeah. Cinderella deserved better too. That was I really liked that live action adaptation.
The most profitable was Beauty and the Beast, which made 7.8 times its budget.
Very fun. And I liked that one more than...
I really like that
It has
one.
its haters, but I feel like for the most part, people like it.
I mean, it made $1 billion.
I feel like it is made or break. I don't know how to say this. It either makes or breaks the film, whether or not you like Emma Watson as Belle.
I get it, yeah.
And I liked her. But if you don't like her, I mean, she's in
That's
the
the
movie a
movie.
lot. So, yeah, you wouldn't like the movie. So, I don't know. I didn't mind. She's definitely towards the bottom of the princesses that can sing really well. But, I don't know. It didn't sound bad to me. I just, not as skilled as the others.
Indeed.
It's hard to be Rachel Zegler and Halle Bailey. Okay? They're just great. So.
Yeah. So, looking at these,
And Naomi Scott, for that matter.
I do think we're going to cross $1 billion.
Me too.
I think it's going to be...
Do you have what Mufasa opened with?
Yes. So Mufasa, its opening weekend domestically it opened with 35 million.
Interesting.
So this one opened domestically
did I say
with
Mufasa?
145. You said Mufasa. Lion King
Dang, I meant Lion
opened
King,
with
sorry.
260.
Dang. And that's worldwide?
No, that's its budget. It opened with 191. My bad.
Okay. Moana 2, which also made $1 billion. Barely, but about $1 billion, a lot.
Mhm.
Opening weekend was 139 million, almost 140 million. I don't know if that means like. I guess that's just domestic.
Presume most times it's domestic.
Yeah, and this one made 150 basically.
145 and a half.
Oh my gosh, I think this one's gonna make 1.2 million.
1.2. Okay.
Is that too low? It might be too low.
That'll make it because there's 1.6 and 1.2. 1.2 is what Beauty and the Beast made.
I feel like it's gonna be on par with that. Pretty
Okay,
on par.
So you say.
Because Moana went on to gross 1 billion and 59 million. So
Okay.
I did not say that very well, but
I
anyways.
think if I had to guess, I would say we're looking at.
I might be lowballing this, low-key.
I don't know, but it's not. I'm trying to think.
Because also How to Train Your Dragon's coming out soon. At least in the next month.
Yeah?
And I feel like that will take away. Because I honestly think it would be hard for that to be a worse movie.
It's got about a... But, I mean, people love this. Well,
I
they're giving a lot of
think-
money. It's about a month away, though. It's got a really strong head start.
I'm gonna say.
Although Elio... But that's not going to do.
No, well,
I was
no,
just thinking...
Elliot won't do anything.
No, I was just thinking, what else is the studio releasing?
I'm gonna say.
That's all I can think of.
I'm gonna do 100 million less than you.
Okay, so 1.1 million?
Yeah.
All right, What would that make it? The, like, ranking of
So
highest grossings?
1.1, it depends. Or actually, if it gets 1.1, that would put it third. So it would be behind Beauty and the Beast, ahead of Aladdin and Alice in Wonderland.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like those are good predictions.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
So, very interesting. I also wanted to play a little game while we have this pulled up
Okay.
of
This or That. with Lilo
Oh.
and Stitch. So
Slay.
I'm going to start listing in a random order of these
We did that with
movies.
Snow White, I think. And we actually found we picked Snow White over quite a lot, so.
And I'm going to... Well, how am I going to sort this?
There's not a high bar here, guys.
Indeed. So I'm just going to start listing them, and
We will both just say if we prefer which we...
This or
if we
that.
prefer this or
Yeah.
that. So...
There you go.
Lilo and Stitch versus... Ooh, you know what? We'll do alphabetical. That's random enough.
Okay.
Did you ever watch the 101 Dalmatians movie?
Yes, but it's been a long time, but I would probably put that above Lilo and Stitch.
I would
I
assume
feel
it
like
will.
I
I've never seen it, but I can only assume.
I feel because people like that movie, and I feel like looking back, I feel like I liked it. It's been a long time though, like probably like 10 years or something, like a long time.
Okay.
So we'll see.
101, 102, I would imagine it's the same thing.
Aladdin.
I haven't seen 102. Yeah,
I would say
Aladdin.
Aladdin's better.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm kind of an Aladdin live action hater.
I
do
know.
love the original.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And that's valid. Like, it's okay. I'm not the biggest fan of Nemo either, and people love Nemo. I don't dislike that movie either. Okay.
But I will.
So-
I don't know.
and I respect you.
I think it's
and,
cute.
And the people's ability to like Aladdin. I actually
Yeah.
dislike the Aladdin
Ooh.
remake. So
I'll
it's,
tell
not,
you.
it's not like I don't. It's not even I prefer the original. It's that I think the Aladdin live action
You
is kinda
just
bad.
don't like it. Okay.
That's-
But
that's my
still
take.
better
I
than
love
Lilo
that
and
you love it.
Stitch. So
Indeed, there's
there you go.
yeah.
Alice in Wonderland 2010.
Or Lilo and Stitch.
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland.
I
feel
actually really like that live action.
What
The
about
first one.
Alice Through the Looking Glass. I would take Alice Through the Looking Glass over Lilo and Stitch.
Gosh, what happened in that movie?
It's where they're going after time. Mad Hatter's trying to find his family. They end up going to time to try and like go back and find where his family is, and then they accidentally like freeze time, and
Oh,
all of
yeah.
time starts like disintegrating for a second.
Yeah, probably that one. That one's closer though, for sure.
Sure. Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the
Beauty
Beast.
and the Beast.
Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin.
I would say Christopher
I actually
Robin.
really like. Have you seen that one?
I did. I feel like I need to rewatch it because it was a bad time when I was watching it, so I feel like I didn't
It's a little slow, but I don't know. And it's sad because, like, it's sad to watch someone not be, like, totally nice to Winnie the Pooh. You're like, you suck.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's, Erwin McGregor. So you're like, come on, Erwin McGregor. Please. Be nice to Winnie the Pooh and his little red balloon. It's
The
so
red
cute. I just love... I just love them. I just love them.
Right.
They're all so cute.
And then here's a little movie. I don't know if you've heard of this one. Cinderella.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to rewatch that one. What is that? Like, I mean, that can't be one of the classics, right? Yeah.
Right.
Oh, definitely Cinderella. That
Cinderella
would
for
be,
sure.
like, probably top 3 live actions for me. That one, Jungle Book, and something else. Maybe Beauty and the Beast. I'd have to think about it. I haven't seen Pete's Dragon either, though, so I can't speak on that one. Sorry, I've
you're
seen
good,
that
you're good,
animated,
yeah.
but I want to rewatch the animated and then the
Oh,
live action.
I rewatched,
Double feature.
I rewatched the Pete's Dragon original before I did,
Yeah.
and you don't need to.
Oh.
Like,
Oh.
borderline, don't subject yourself to
Oh.
that movie.
I want to, though.
We've
I
had
want to rewatch it.
We've recently had a lot of conversations about there being bad movies and there being boring movies.
And it's
and
both?
the unforgivable
Oh,
bad
no.
and boring.
Oh, no.
There's some fun stuff with, like, an invisible dragon, but, like, it's too long.
Okay.
And there's not a single memorable song.
Dang.
Although I will say I have the "We have a bill of sale, we have a bill of sale." It's like traumatized ingrained
What?
in my head. Because
Oh
they
my
own the
God.
child. They own Pete.
Oh, no. No. Why do I not remember that? Did I block that out from trauma in my
Maybe.
childhood? Anyways. Okay.
Cruella.
Like Charlotte's Web. Oh, Cruella. I actually really like that movie.
I also really like it. It's
Yeah.
iconic.
Yeah.
Disney's Snow White.
Snow White.
Snow White, yeah. Dumbo.
Ooh. Probably Lilo and Stitch.
Ooh, you really didn't like Dumbo.
I don't know. It was okay. I remember. I feel like now that we're talking about this, I feel like I remember you liking it and me not liking it though.
I thought it was fine.
It's fine.
It's not anything impressive at all.
No.
But, you know.
Stitch does bring, and Lilo, both of them bring a lot of pull for me. For at least like it's cute. And you know what? The live action Astrid, she was in Dumbo.
It was.
So I'm so
I
happy
would
that she's
probably
gonna get a
go-
much better role in
I'd
this
probably go with Dumbo.
one. Okay.
Because, you know, I also don't think Dumbo, like, butchers the original. It's just not the original.
True. Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of a tie for me.
I would say these
Okay.
are the closest so far, but
Yeah.
for me, I would still confidently go
Dumbo.
Dumbo.
Okay.
Lady and the Tramp.
Oh. Lilo and Stitch.
Interesting. I
Ah.
enjoyed Lady and the Tramp. I enjoyed the latter end of this list more than most people do.
I don't know. I don't know.
You're allowed to have
Lady
your
and the
opinion.
Tramp. It was fine. It was fine. I just love the original.
Sure.
I love the original. It's so good.
Maleficent.
The first one,
Yes.
Maleficent.
Absolutely.
Probably the second one too.
Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. I just
Probably.
watched that one for the first time, and it's not the original, but it's
It's not.
fine.
Yeah. The original is actually really good.
Oh, it's so iconic.
Yeah.
I love
that one might be my third actually. Ooh, I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Mufasa the Lion King. Mufasa the Lion
Mufasa.
Ooh, Mulan.
Ooh, Lilo and Stitch. Mulan,
I fear this is going to have to go to Lilo and Stitch for me as well.
because it's very frustrating because they had a great opportunity to fix what was offensive to that culture in the original. Even though I love the original, but obviously, I'm not from that culture, so I can't speak for that. But not only did they not do that and still make it offensive, apparently, but they also took all of the charm away, and so everyone hates that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because I actually, I want to like parts of that movie, and and there's a scene or two that I'm like, this looks really pretty, and then it's, and it's just not good.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Pete's
It's
Dragon.
like what they did in Lilo and Stitch, but worse.
Yeah.
It looks worse, and you lose. all of your charm.
Indeed.
So, with all the changes you make, and it's offensive. So, yeah,
Pete's Dragon. You haven't seen.
I haven't seen it. Can't comment.
I'm
Sorry.
gonna have to go with Pete's Dragon.
Yeah, I probably would too.
Peter Pan and Wendy.
Ooh, another one that I just don't like it. Okay, here's my thing. I really liked the girl who played Tinkerbell, but I felt like where Tinkerbell is such a body expressive person because she can't talk. I felt like it was a little weak in that, and totally switched on Peter Pan. I mean, he's very like body expressive as well, but he's also very much like with his voice. He does a lot with his voice, and he just has a very distinct voice, and it's just very fun. And I feel like so sorry to that actor. I hated him as Peter Pan. And it's almost like I wanted their talents to switch. If that makes sense. Because I felt like he tried to be really expressive with his body, and I'm like, I wanted that from Tinkerbell. But then I feel like I've seen that actress in other things, and I wanted her to be able to speak. So it's like, I want you to like give that to him, and he can give that to you, and then you can be great. Gosh, I really don't like that movie. Wendy's fine from what I can remember. Don't really remember much else. I would probably say Lilo and Stitch.
I would go Peter Pan and Wendy.
Oh, crazy.
Although I don't remember a ton
Not
of
crazy.
that movie. I remember
Yeah.
finding it interesting, the idea that Captain Hook previously was a lost boy, but then he went home to grow up because he missed his mom.
Yeah.
And then, Peter Pan was an asshole because he left.
Peter Pan is an asshole.
He's-
That is
yeah,
like
that's
canon.
canon.
Yeah. That is very much like, I don't know. That's crazy.
Then Pinocchio.
Oh, Lilo and Stitch. Easy. Have you ever seen that movie?
I did.
No way you're considering it right now.
Unfortunately.
No. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay, I won't do it.
Tom Hanks as Geppetto is one of the worst things I've seen in my life. Which is crazy considering Tom Hanks is... I feel like he has the capability of being so like a warm hug like Geppetto, and he just doesn't work. I'm like, wow, I like hate you, and I loved Geppetto in the original, but I hate you right now. I don't know why. It just like it loses its charm for me.
I don't know. I
hate him in that movie. I'm sorry.
I totally acknowledge your feelings on this. For some reason, I don't know what it is. And maybe it's also because before I watched that, I could not tell you the last time I'd watched the original Pinocchio.
Okay, true. The original Pinocchio is also a little boring and offensive.
So, I don't know. I can forgive a little bit of it because, I don't know.
But also...
it's not super fresh on my mind, and I guess, I don't know.
I just keep thinking about the other Pinocchio. It's just so much more fun.
Sure.
So, it's so much more creative.
I don't know. I liked Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I don't mean to be, because I think it's great.
A hater.
It's so great.
Hater.
I don't want to be a hater.
Woo.
It's nowhere near my favorite, even animated movie of that year.
Dang. Of that year.
Of that year.
Dang.
I don't know. I think it's good. It's probably within my top 20 films. But there's at least 5 animated movies I'd probably put above it.
I feel like I do remember that year being really good for animation though. Is that the year that Mitchells and the Machines came out?
I think it was that.
I
and,
love
The
that
Last
movie.
Wish, Puss in Boots.
Yes.
I think it was all that
Ugh.
year. So I was really wanting
Two
Puss in Boots
phenomenal movies. Yeah.
to win.
Didn't Pinocchio win?
Yes.
Yeah. I really also wish Last Wish would have won, but
What can you do? So unfortunately, my vote is to Pinocchio.
dang.
I'm so sorry. It's not a
Hot
good movie,
takes.
but I think Lilo and Stitch is a worse movie.
Dang. Okay.
I
okay.
truly feel that in my heart.
Okay.
Because also I really liked, Key and Peele, not Jordan Key.
Why can I also not remember his name right now? Jordan Peele and Michael Key.
Michael Key?
Is that? Wait,
Am
am
I thinking
I
of Michael
crazy?
Keaton?
No, that might be who I'm thinking of. What is his name? Guys, I'm so sorry. I also don't know why you're bringing him up. So I'm like,
Because
very
he
fascinated
plays
right now.
Honest John.
Oh, I did not know that. Okay,
Honest John.
is it Michael? Are we
Where
crazy?
the heck are you? Keegan Michael Key.
Keegan Michael Key.
we
Okay, okay. That's why I thought Michael Key.
Oh,
I was almost there.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt was Jiminy?
That's crazy.
Luke Evans was
Anyways,
Amino DeBurro.
sure.
I know who that is, but
What's
Cynthia Erivo. I don't know.
Oh, I did like Cynthia. She looked so good as the Blue Fairy. I was like, your wings look so pretty right now, and I love that for you.
Some really old version of The Jungle Book, which I'm gonna guess neither of us have watched.
No,
The
I know what
Jungle
you're
Book.
talking about though.
Yeah, The Jungle
The
Book.
Jungle Book.
The Jungle Book.
Duh. Duh.
The Lion King.
If you say anything different, you're lying. Rewatch The Jungle Book. It's so good.
The Lion King.
I'm gonna say Lilo and Stitch because I hate The Lion King.
Wow.
I hate when movies, and that's why I'm very skeptical about How to Train Your Dragon, because I loved the original. I loved the original Lion King. But when you brag about making a copy of something, but it's just so inferior looking, that's so horrible. It pisses me off on a creative level. It pisses me off that not only are you like bragging about copying something, but it just looks so much worse, and then it makes so much more money, and I hate that. I hate that. I know that's gonna happen for How to Train Your Dragon too. I already know.
And then, unfortunately, I'm also gonna go The Lion King. Sorry,
Ugh.
but I get that.
At least Lilo and Stitch, it's not like
What's it not like?
it's not like a carbon copy of the original, although they do completely miss the message of the original. So yeah, it's basically like, what's worse? But I find it more offensive when you don't even at least attempt to be creative and different. So I don't know.
And then The Little Mermaid.
Oh, The Little Mermaid. Is that it?
That is it.
Dang. Okay.
So this is the 24th live-action remake. And
One is going to be the 25th.
25th will be that one.
Maybe last. We'll see.
We'll see. I have a feeling they'll try and continue with like the Lion King movies. I imagine we'll get something else.
Yeah.
In that
Because
vein.
Mufasa did pretty well too. Not
Mufasa
a
did
billion,
really well.
but pretty good.
Cause hold on, let
Pretty
me
solid.
look at Mufasa.
Also, I'm gonna reiterate what I said in a previous video. Forgot which one I said this in. But How to Train Your Dragon might even seem great to the general audience. Have fun with that. Wait until they make a Minions movie. Wait until they make Shrek. Wait until they make Despicable Me with the stupid little nose. It's adorable and funny and animated. Wait till they try to do it in live action. Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait. And you have fun with that.
Yeah, it's.
You have fun with that.
With DreamWorks, I feel it is such a slippery slope because at least Disney has a lot of like human characters with like normal.
What are they
human
gonna do?
traits.
Trolls? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Dreams.
Dreams.
I can't even say it now. DreamWorks. There we go.
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be very rough.
Saying.
So I think that's everything that we have to say on Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
The live action remake.
I agree.
In conclusion, watch Lilo and Stitch, the original, on Disney Plus now. And then if you have kids,
Yep.
they'll really enjoy this live action remake in theaters out this weekend.
That's about it, folks.
Yeah, so we will be seeing how this performs. It is supposed to, it did break box office records this weekend, with that and Mission Impossible coming out to be the biggest recorded Memorial Day weekend sales ever.
Yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm happy movies are doing well because that means they're going to make more movies. And if this is what we have to suffer through in order to get movies like Elemental or Elio or any other original films they want to make, then cool.
That's life.
Cool. If that's how it needs to work, then I'm happy it works. I'm happy they found something that works. So could be worse. Could not make they could just not make originals. So glad they didn't do that.
We'll have to watch this. I'm interested because I don't think Minecraft has crossed 1 billion yet either.
No, I
think
saw
it's getting
today it's at
close-ish.
it's close.
It's in the
I saw
900s.
950 million today.
Ooh, but that's
But they were saying like it. I mean, unless they just keep it there for a long time, which I don't think they can afford to.
at some point they're gonna take it to. Oh, it's already on digital now.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I mean, that'll like. It's plenty profitable, and digital will just make it even more so. But box office wise, it's gonna get very, very close, but not quite cross $1 billion. It looks like so. I'm so okay with that.
Yeah, and
Nice.
then Lilo and Stitch. So, is there any other movies you think are gonna make 1 billion this year?
Zootopia
I think Zootopia is a really good
and Avatar: Fire and Ash.
one. Okay.
I think Avatar is like a shoe-in because the other two have made over 2 billion.
Mhm.
That's a shoe-in.
I'm interested to see how it does so close to the last one.
Yeah.
Because there was a long gap between the first and the second for people to
It's
be
true.
very nostalgic of that rush.
Mhm.
But now it's within recent memory that they
Yeah,
have that.
but I'm saying people
I think it'll
love
still do
that
really good.
franchise.
I'm curious to see if it does better or if it maybe goes down a little bit. Like,
Maybe.
I think it's a shoe in for 1 billion. Is it a
Yeah.
shoe in for 2?
2 billion? We'll see. We'll see.
How can he do the
Let's
same
see.
thing and label it fresh?
Yeah. I don't. But as long as it keeps looking that pretty, I think people are gonna show up. So, because I mean, there's a reason why a lot of people can't even remember the main character's name, but they still love the
Jake
movies
Sully.
because they just love how pretty it looks, and it does. It looks very pretty. So,
Curious question. How do you think Wicked is going to do?
oh yeah,
I don't think it'll
Well,
make
what
1
are the-
billion.
I want to look up what the first one did.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't think it'll make 1 billion.
I think it'll
Either?
make at least a solid 200 above the original.
I will
Because I think
say,
a lot more people have fallen in love with it since.
Oh wait, why did I search up? No, I searched up the information, box office information of the second one. It hasn't come out yet. I will say, Wicked was like a phenomenon. So, but I will say, a lot of people talk about the Broadway play. The second act is not as good, and actually, a lot of people will talk about how they dislike the second act. But if they can ride that wave and pull off a good adaptation of the second act,
I think
love
the
that this
For
is not
Good
loading for
song-
me right now.
The
I
For
love
Good
that.
song is going to do a lot.
Yes.
And it looks like
will
it made
say-
754
Cool.
million.
Glad yours is loading. 7 what?
754 million.
Oh, actually, that is right at 1 billion pretty much.
If it adds to it, and it will add to it.
It will add to it.
I think
It depends
I
on
think
if
we're
it's actually
looking-
good or not.
Oh, I would be surprised if it was bad. I would be very shocked to hear it was bad.
Yeah.
Especially with them like adding the songs into it and
Yeah.
these two performers.
Mhm.
Songs written specifically so these two performers can sing them in character.
Ugh.
That has a lot of pull.
They're for good is gonna like. Oh my
Oh my
god!
God, it's
I'm
gonna
already.
break
I already
people.
got chills when I said that.
I think
I will say.
I think
I'm-
Wicked will be close. I don't think it'll cross 1 billion. I would love to be wrong.
I would. Yeah, me too. I will say. I kind of hated how much they advertised Defying Gravity for the first one, because I feel like if you don't know Wicked, you don't need that as a draw. You don't understand why that's iconic. But for the people who do know, it would have been such a nice surprise in the theater to hear her battle cry.
Mm-hmm.
I fear what they're gonna do with For Good in the
I don't know
trailers.
because it's not exciting.
I'm scared.
Like because it's a very.
But they know like it's gonna be emotional.
I'm interested to see our looks at what the other like Dorothy and Friends look like. I
Yeah.
think that's going to be a lot of the advertising and the fact that like, oh, here's that story that
Yeah.
everyone knows.
I wonder if they're gonna release who the actress is.
Oh, that has to be at least by the first trailer. That's
don't know.
So
I
that's
don't
like
know.
what the second movie's going to be.
I don't know.
I'm so curious.
They
I'm so
might keep it a
curious.
secret, guys. I don't know. I wouldn't be mad either way. I think it'd be a fun surprise to find out in the theater, or honestly, it's been so long anticipated, I would be fine finding that out in the trailer as well. So
And I
I'm
also
still
think-
rooting for the Abigail girl Come on, girl, you got this.
And I also think How to Train Your Dragon is going to do very well.
I think it's gonna do very well.
I'm not 100% on if it'll break $1 billion yet. It's at least looking between a high 8 or a low 9 in front of it.
I think in the 8s is a good place for it to be. I wish Fantastic Four or Superman, that could be really cool because they're so close together. If they like gave each other a push, and they might,
But
they might still do it. But I don't think
it's just at a horrible place right now.
Yeah.
I think if they get profitable, they win, and that's good.
I
enough.
hope they both have a 7 at least in front of their.
Honestly, at
box
this point, if
office.
they get a 5 in front of it, they beat the curse.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so bad. Poor Thunderbolts.
Indeed.
Poor Thunderbolts.
So, we shall
Anyways,
see.
yeah, good
that's a brief little
conversation.
rant no one asked for, but very fun.
It's a good one. Yeah.
So, that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to us yap. We hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know your
Yeah.
thoughts on Lilo and Stitch. Let us know if you did like it. If you like it, we are so happy for you. Please let us know what worked for you, and maybe if there's anything we're missing. Please, we'd love to know. Stay tuned this next week for our Last of Us finale episode.
Yeah.
Can't wait to break that down with you guys. And the next week we have the Karate Kid Legends.
And then our recap.
And our
and
recap.
Summer
and
anticipation list.
anticipation for the summer as well and our
Yeah.
next month. So very exciting. Stay tuned for all of that. And until next time, I am Luke.
And I'm Alicia.
And aloha.
Aloha. Bye, Ohana.
Bye.
Bye, not so straight, Ohana.